ain't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the announcements. We actually had a lot of announcements today, largely regarding X-Men related stuff. And since we cover a lot of X-Men stuff on this channel and have for quite some time, it seemed kind of appropriate to talk about it. One of the worst kept secrets in comics as of late was that Gail Simone was going to be writing X-Men after the whole Fall of X era comes to its inevitable close. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? Gail Simone is writing X-Men. I mean, it was kind of obvious. She's writing the X-Men portion of the Free Comic Book Day comic that X-Men almost always puts out on Free Comic Book Day. So usually whoever's writing that is the person who's going to be writing the X-Men book. But the thing that we didn't really know was which X-Men book was she going to be writing, because apparently there are 3 new core X-Men titles that are going to be coming out. So we're kind of back to what we've been doing, having 20 X books out at a time. Actually, no, it's actually going to be something closer to probably like 7 or 8, but still, that's a lot. So right here, as of present time, it's going to be X-Men, Exceptional X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Phoenix, Nyx, which I was like, wow, we're bringing Nyx back, or NYX, or whatever you want to call it. But X-Factor, X-Force, Storm, see what we did there? And Wolverine. All this is going to be kicking off this summer. Now, we're going to go ahead and run through everything, but I already kind of gave the game away that Gail Simone is going to be writing the Uncanny X-Men. She's going to be doing that with art provided by David Marquez. Uncanny X-Men #1 is going to be coming out August the 7th. And then that team is going to be largely focused on Rogue as the leader. She's also going to be backed up by veteran X-Men character Wolverine, as well as veteran X-Men characters Jubilee, Gambit, and Nightcrawler. So nothing really new there, and I know I've already seen the criticisms online. Trust me, I have the exact same ones. I haven't forgotten what videos I've made recently or how I feel about anything. I have said pretty much the same thing. These teams they're incredibly white, especially this one. This is the whitest team, I think, out of the whole bunch, with the only character of color being Jubilee. Technically Nightcrawler because he's blue, but still, he's white under that blue. I've said it a million times if I haven't already. One of the biggest criticisms I've heard people say is, oh man, well, I guess we're going back to the mansion. We're going back to the mansion. Well, here's the funny thing about this. None of these 3 teams are going to the mansion. All of them are going to be spread to different parts. The Uncanny X-Men team will be based out of the Big Easy, and we don't really know how all that's going to play out, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of Louisiana-isms in this, and I'm here for it. The next team after that is going to be X-Men, just core X-Men, adjectiveless X-Men by Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman, friend of the channel. This core X-Men team is going to be based out of Alaska, of all places. So yeah, no mansion in sight. This team will seemingly be led by Cyclops, who will be acting as leader as he usually does. Psylocke, not the Elizabeth Braddock version, but actual canon, as well as veteran characters like Magic, as well as Beast, presumably the Defenders version of Beast, who we have recently seen return during the current Benjamin Percy X-Force, though it's hard to say where that falls right now. It could just be regular ass Beast. It could be X-Force Beast even. Who knows? I'm really can't wait to see how all this is going to play out. But carrying on, we also have Juggernaut, which, man, I'm actually really excited to see Juggernaut on an X-Men team. Not for the first time. He's actually been on the X-Men before, but this is one of those moments where it's actually like a legit run on X-Force. So I'm really excited for that. We've also got Kid Omega, as well as Oya, who has now had a name change to Temper for some reason. Not sure how I feel about that. Depends on what kind of temper we're talking about. Are we talking about tempering, like as in like her power, because she does control both fire and ice? Wondering if it has anything to do with that, the fact that she can technically do that, or if it has something to do with attitude, because if it does, that's kind of problematic. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not crazy about the name change there. But oh, and we also have last but most certainly not least, Magneto in a hover chair, like almost like old school 90s Charles Xavier style. I'm wondering what exactly happened there. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Last and most certainly not least is the one I'm actually the most curious about, because once again, as the criticism has been, these teams look incredibly white. with on the core X-Men team, the only characters of color being Psylocke and Oya, well, formerly known as Oya. But yeah, there's not enough color on a lot of these teams, but you know, hey, it is what it is at this point. I have just come to accept that Marvel has zero desire to make these teams look less white than they have for a long time. If they put one black person, one brown person, one Asian person, whatever, then they feel they've already filled their quota. It's like, okay, we gave you one, okay? Aren't you happy now? Look, you had Storm. Weren't you happy with Storm? So yeah, there's that. And then the Exceptional X-Men. This is the one I'm the most looking forward to. This is by Eve L. Ewing, one of my favorite writers. And she's going to be teamed up with Carmen Carnero, who is also one of my favorite artists. So she was really good on the Captain Marvel series early on with Kelly Thompson. Just fantastic artist. She's lights out. I'm not worried about this book at all. Not to say I'm worried about the other ones, but just this is the one I'm like, yeah, this was gonna be good. But no, this team will be based out of Chicago. Now, I'm not surprised by that because Eve L. Ewing is a native Chicagoan, and pretty much all her books are based out of Chicago in some shape, form, or fashion. When she was writing the Ironheart series, the Riri Williams Ironheart series, that was based out of Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. The one she's doing for Black Panther right now, where T'Challa is based out of, I mean, he's not based out of Chicago, but because he's still in Wakanda, he's based out of a place called Burning T'Chaka. And the way Burning T'Chaka has been built up, it's basically a Wakandan version of Chicago. So neither here nor there. Point of the matter is, they're gonna be based out of Chicago, and Kate Pryde is gonna be the one who's leading this team. And I find this kind of interesting because, I don't know, maybe there might be some changes going on here, but I noticed that in Eve L. Ewing's statement, she referred to Kate Pryde as Kitty. So I'm guessing we're taking back the Kitty moniker. But if you actually go on Marvel's social media, they're still calling her Kate Pryde, like not referring to her as Kitty under any circumstances. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to play out. But considering everything that's been going on lately, the character development between Kate Pryde and Emma Frost has been going on over the last many years, but more specifically in Jerry Duggan's Marauder series, I really can't wait to see how this is going to work out. And they have been hanging out together very recently. They've actually been teamed up fighting against Orcus as of late, especially in the most recent issue of Fall of the House of X #3. So I'm actually really curious about that. Next up on the list, the remaining characters on this team are all new. So I don't know anything about these characters. They are referred to as Bronze, Melee, and Axo. I could be saying that wrong. I do not know. I'm not going to pretend that I know. This team also pretty goddamn white, with the exception of possibly 2 characters, maybe a third. I don't want to be this guy, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say that the one brown girl we see in the back is very likely Bronze. The slightly tannish character, with the kind of mohawk undercut thing going on here is probably Melee, and I'm assuming the other girl, who is either white or Asian, it's hard to tell at this point, is probably Axo. I don't know. I could be wrong. And you know what? There could be some flip around there. I don't know. I'm just taking some wild stabs. But these characters are all new. They are young mutants who have no training whatsoever, and it is incumbent upon Kate Pryde and Emma Frost to try and make sure these characters don't get too far out of pocket. All in all, I'm fine with this. It is what it is. Once again, considering all the other books that we also have coming up, once again, NYX, Phoenix, X-Factor, X-Force, Wolverine, Storm, clearly there's going to be more room for other characters on other teams. I'm hoping that maybe those teams aren't just ridiculously white. I mean, granted, NYX is not really a team book. It's kind of more of a what's going on in the city of New York style book. If you've ever read any of the previous NYX books, like one of them in kind of some loose ways factored in characters like Dr. Cecilia Reyes, though it was only for like maybe 1 or 2 issues of that. Mostly just mutants in general, not really specific X-Men characters all the time. But yeah, Phoenix, Wolverine, Storm, those are solo books 100%, though I'm sure there will be characters that usually are on teams that show up in those books, so maybe there'll be some representation there just kind of in the background, because that's all you can really hope for at this point. But X-Factor and X-Force, I'm really hoping we see something a little different. With X-Force, I'm really hoping we see something closer to like one of the classic X-Force teams. And that means I want to see Feral, I want to see Sunspot, I want to see Richter. I wouldn't even mind seeing Shatterstar or, you know, anything like that. Yeah, I want to see all that, you know, again. And as far as X Factor goes, honestly, I'm really still sad that Leah Williams got, you know, completely screwed out of writing X Factor any longer than what she did. So I mean, honestly, if they brought back Leah Williams for that, I'd be perfectly fine with it. And if you want to bring back that very same X Factor team, I'd be perfectly fine with that too. Or if you want to do something that's kind of a mix of what they did with the multiple man led X Factor from like in the late aughts, early 2010s, I'd be fine with that too. But yeah, right now I'm looking forward to it. I really am more curious about what is Storm gonna be doing in her solo book, because we've seen a little bit of a glimpse. It seems like, you know, she's not on anybody's team. Seems like she might be doing her own thing. And by doing her own thing, what I mean is, if I honestly think she's gonna be taking up, because we don't see Xavier in any of this stuff. I feel like maybe she might be taking up that Xavier role. I've been saying it since I saw that. If you go to the, it was just a couple of weeks ago, Women of Marvel 2024 one shot, where we kind of got a glimpse of these new X-Men teams, you know, in a limited capacity, and we saw a section where Storm was depicted, and she was not with anybody. She was by herself, and she was seemingly talking to people. So I don't know. It was, you know, like in a, like she's presenting something capacity. So yeah, if she becomes like, if she falls into that role, or like something similar to you know, what Xavier used to do when he would go like to the UN or like to Congress or the House or whatever, and try and get these fuckboy politicians to act right. Yeah, if she's doing that, I'm 100% down for it, because I'm curious. I want to see Storm do different stuff. We've already seen her do so many different things, and this is one of the things I really haven't seen her do. So I would be interested to see how that plays out. Though I'm a little sad Eve is already writing Exceptional X-Men, because I would have loved to see her write Storm, you know, in a Storm solo series. But who knows? Eve can pull double duty. You guessed it, obligatory channel outro time. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. Clicking that subscribe button and tapping that notification bell ensures that you get more videos just like this one, and you don't miss any of my other content that I drop throughout the week, plus my live streams every Thursday and Saturday. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button, keep it plus ultra, and sound off in the comments.